Anyway, let's get into Salt Mine main event. Again, we've got Chronic and Firstkiller for you guys. Wow, this is taking a while to get going. I was just like pausing for a second there, but the countdown is not starting. There it is! Chronic against Firstkiller. Winner makes top 4 in the Salt Mine 4 main event. Loser will have to play from the lower bracket tomorrow in order to join them. And Firstkiller is kicking things off with a massive mine game. Looking a bit fakey there. Chronic with a more intentional looking mine game. And he does get possession off the back of it. Now, Chronic and Firstkiller did play recently in Hootie Who's One's tournament. Chronic was victorious. Firstkiller, however, did qualify to Salt Mine main event before Chronic did. So if we're looking at the seeding here, you would expect Firstkiller... No, actually, I tell a lie. Chronic qualified first. What am I talking about? Chronic qualified second seed. So actually, he's just the favorite in every way. But yeah, Firstkiller yesterday did play a great series against Cosmic. He's clearly leveled up since his earlier woes in qualifying, or failing to qualify immediately to Salt Mine 4. But this should be a really interesting match. These guys have got a long history of playing ones against each other. They actually go all the way back to Salt Mine 1, where Firstkiller was the dominant force in North America. Salt Mine 2, Chronic actually didn't play. He was taking a break from competitive at the time. And then, of course, Salt Mine 3, they did both play again. Pretty close matches, but Firstkiller again finished off higher in the rankings after all was said and done. He is the 2-time winner, Salt Mine 1 and Salt Mine 2 North America winner, Firstkiller. Chronic has had tournament wins in 1v1, but none as prestigious as Firstkiller's wins. These guys, of course, are rumored to play against, with each other. Well, they're, I guess, kind of confirmed to play with each other, but as we've seen with a lot of these confirmations, these locked rosters, they're not quite locked. I mean, so many times this offseason, I see a tweet from a player saying, announcing my team for the RLCS 2025 season. So-and-so and this other guy, we're really excited to play together. We're locked in for 2025. And then a couple weeks later, they're like, yeah, so that was actually a joke. I'm changing regions. So I don't know what's going to happen with Firstkiller and Chronic. But of course, they did just finish a season together that was somewhat successful. Finished off pretty underwhelming, but started strong with Gen G. And yeah, they're playing with LJ this next season if all goes well, which should, of course, be one of the best teams in the world and a contender in North America. Oh, shot by Firstkiller, 2-1. Just inside halftime, pretty low scoring game so far. That's a really good turn though by Firstkiller. Put the ball in an awkward spot Chronic couldn't get to. Something pros do really well that even high-rated SSL players can't always get right is that touch to the wall that you can turn on. A lot of players will try this. They'll try and touch the ball up to the wall so you can land on the wall and then jump off again. But if you don't get it exactly right, then you're just giving the ball away. You're just landing out of position and usually in a lot of trouble. Chronic on the counter attack now. Buff just out of the way and now demoed in the landing by Firstkiller. In still a very low scoring game one, Firstkiller has seized control and can now take a big advantage, but fails to do so with the flick midair. Now 2 minutes to go. Chronic with his trance. Ceiling recovery, and he scores across the goal. Past Firstkiller, who was shadowing. Firstkiller was kind of ready for that when he knew what was happening. The shot was just too quick. Chronic, when he's on his game, is up there with the best of them when it comes to undefendable aerial shots. I think both these guys have got a claim of being part of that gang of players who you do not have a chance against when they peak in the air. Flip reset for Chronic. Brings the ball down, wave dash, and then top shelf shot saved by FK. Chronic dissuaded him from continuing the counter-attack though, with that pre-flip pretty near the ball in the recovery. Firstkiller there staying safe away from the demo. Oh, Chronic's very lucky. He did not stay safe. as Firstkiller went across the back wall to bump him. Solid turn and challenge by FK. Both players taking their time, setting up offensive plays. Now Firstkiller chasing Chronic into the back corner. Chronic got the boost though. Firstkiller calmly deflects the ball back corner, and we're just doing laps around the pitch now. One of the fastest games we've seen in terms of average speed. But really not too many nervous moments where the players are racing each other to the ball. It's a modern take on the traditional NA meta of your turn, my turn. Shadow defense engaged for both players. Now suddenly Chronic bursts into action. Ceiling challenge intercepts early. Firstkiller back on the play though. Slow rolls him and Chronic stops that as well. Firstkiller has to concede possession. Backs off to mid for a 100 boost with 30 seconds left in game 1. Still 2-2. An incredibly low scoring game compared to what we've been getting used to. And Chronic almost had it with the mind game. Firstkiller gets back to the ball. Both players so hard to demo in this matchup. Just 3 boosts for Chronic. Narrowly connects with his flick. Firstkiller's almost faked him out here. Chronic defends the near post well. It's going to be Firstkiller with the last chance of the game. Another mind game. Still Firstkiller in control. Can he get a shot on target? Chronic looking to waste as much time as he can, but now the ball gets away from him. Firstkiller with the reset, and the ball hits the ground. He just could not quite get under it. Chronic survives to overtime. Pre-flip from Chronic. Oh, Firstkiller didn't connect, neither did Chronic. His pre-flip touch missed. Firstkiller did not ignore him though. And now it's Chronic in overtime. Firstkiller spawns in with an incredibly fast challenge and wins. And that is all it takes. You let your guard down for a split second. Firstkiller appears and takes the ball from you. A really, really interesting game. Just a chess match of back and forth. Both players playing extremely similar styles, but it was mainly Firstkiller in offense. 14 shots generated to only 5 of Chronic. But most of them were not really shots that you would expect to result in much. I mean, most of the shots he was just getting a shot on target for the stats, and then Chronic would take control of the ball and back corner boost. That being said, look at the field control. Firstkiller, massive field control advantage, possession and boost control also in his favor. Yeah, both these guys they're very similar stylistically. Kind of the NA meta, really. That almost looked like we'd gone back in time with the meta, but with modern day mechanics, if that makes sense to you guys. Is if you look at NA 1v1 meta from 2018, 2019, what you'll see is 2 players taking turns dribbling on the ground at each other. It'll be dribble, flick, shadow, save, then going the other way, dribble, flick, shadow, save, repeat until somebody breaks the cycle by scoring. Now it's more like air dribble, flip reset, shadowing defender makes a save. Now their turn to air dribble, flip reset, shadowing defender makes a save and repeat. So yeah, Lion Blaze was really well known for this. Lion Blaze Firstkiller back in the day, anytime you watch that matchup, it was essentially what we just saw, except with dribbling instead of air dribbling. So that was the modern take on the traditional NA meta. It isn't really the same with Middle East and Europe, at least historically it hasn't been, because players have tended to not want to back off and give the pitch to the opponent as much on the EU server. They'll just turn and challenge with 12 boosts a lot more often, 20 boost challenges, and that kind of thing. Either style can win. It's kind of what's interesting about 1v1. So you do have noticeably different playstyles that can all be successful. But with this more North American meta, oh, Chronic own goals. He could have saved this, but we didn't want to hit it off the outside edge of the post. Notice here, he's not trying to hit the outside, he wants to hit the post pretty square on so that he can turn and dribble that. If he'd flipped, then his car would have hit the post and he would have recovered really badly, so he didn't want to do that at all. Oh, what a flick. Chronic 1-1. Is it an own goal if it was already going in though? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, so I know in footballing terms, it's only an own goal if there was not a shot on target. But in Rocket League, it's a little bit different because you don't, I mean, if a goalkeeper ever gets a hand to the ball and it goes in football, you would not call it an own goal unless they like deflected it in. But in Rocket League, if it should have been saved, but the player just hits it in, that's an own goal. I know that there was a Reddit thread recently, somebody complaining about this, which I felt like had to just be immense levels of boredom to be complaining about this. But I mean, when a player tries to, you know, play that risky inside of the post pass to themselves and they mess it up, you've got to call that an own goal to distinguish between that type of goal and a similar type of goal. Think about this, chat. Imagine that somebody is trying to get back to make a save and they just simply cannot get there. There's no way to make a save. The ball's too far in. They get a touch on the way in, but it was in anyway, and there was nothing they could do. That's just a goal. That's not an own goal. But if somebody can get back, if somebody had the option of flipping into the ball and saving it, and they chose not to because they tried to go for a very precise touch off the inside of the post, which is happening a lot these days, then I'm going to call that an own goal. Because it's a miss, but they could have just flipped into it and saved it. You've got to be able to distinguish between the two different types of shots and positions. Otherwise, it just becomes harder for listeners to understand and harder for viewers to understand what's actually happening on the pitch. But yes, in traditional football terms, that would not be considered an own goal. We're not going with that because Rocket League is not football. It's Rocket League. It just isn't something that would happen in football. Like, when would you ever see in football, like in soccer for you Americans, somebody like running back to their net to save a ball that's on target slowly, and then they try and hit the ball off the inside of their post so that they can pass to themselves? Nobody does that. They would just hoof it into the stands, you know? So you don't have this controversy in football. However, I would argue that if somebody did have the option to hoof it into the stands and they instead chose to just try and snipe the inside of their own post and they boomed it into the net, that would still be, I think people would call it an own goal even in football, aka soccer. Anyway, Firstkiller taking control here, pretty frustrating for Chronic in these last few minutes. Struggling to get many chances of seeing Firstkiller's net up close. Now he gets one. Firstkiller still gets back to make the save. Chronic shot just a touch too slow. The bump landed, but it wasn't effective. You saw Harry Kane do it once. Well, Harry Kane tried to pass to himself off the inside of the post. There's no way. If you saw him hitting the post, it was probably just a penalty, mate. Probably just a missed penalty. In an England jersey. Oh, Firstkiller pogo shot down by Chronic. Firstkiller's looking really good here. He's also on a great streak right now. Excellent overhead save. The counter attack is automatic, and Chronic can't do anything except watch it go in. And he calls next. A minute to go. Chronic has had enough of this game. Not really a lot going on in that replay, so let's just go for it. The immediate next. A 2-0. Firstkiller is in the driver's seat. He is playing his style of game, and when Firstkiller gets to play his style of 1v1, he tends to win. It's really up to Chronic to change something up here. He needs to get Firstkiller out of his comfort zone if he's going to have any chance in the matchup today. I don't know, I saw, you know, this own goal thing I'm talking about today? There was somebody complaining about Fear doing that. Is this something that Fear does? I've not noticed this. Does Fear incorrectly call unsavable shots own goals? Because I do think, I don't think he does, by the way, for the record, but I do think if a shot is completely unsavable and a defender just deflects it on the way in, that's not an own goal. So I do want to make that clear. If a shot is just in no matter what and the defender touches it, the trail changes color. No matter what kind of touch they get, if it wasn't actually savable, it's not an own goal, it's just a goal. Just a forced, maybe a forced own goal. If the defender has nowhere to go except flipping into the ball and they're forced to own goal, that's, yeah. also possible, but they're all distinguishable. You've got forced own goals, and then just goals. He only says it when a player throws and gifts them a goal. Oh, so wait, does he say own goal if somebody just misses an open net, for example? Is that what you mean? I'm trying to understand what the community complaint is. God, I've never noticed it personally. Oh, what a shot. Just classic Firstkiller. This is the Firstkiller we all know and love. Just absolutely booming the living daylights out of every ball. It just doesn't look normal. I swear when he hits the ball, it doesn't look normal. Why is the first, split second after Firstkiller hits the ball faster than it should be? There's a few players like this in the world of Rocket League. Firstkiller's always had this ability to just get maximum power. Chronic very close to a good shot there. Instead, it's just a setup for Firstkiller to counter-attack. Really, for Chronic, he has to score with his very next attack, or else the momentum is just going to be away from him. If Firstkiller scores again, I don't think Chronic's winning this game. Great save. Wall dash by Firstkiller to keep himself goal side. Chronic in such a good position, though. It must be a goal, and it is. Firstkiller's pretty close to saving this, though. Has to be said. But if Chronic hadn't scored here, then that would have pretty much been game over. Am I excited for the Chronic Firstkiller LJ team? I am. I'm really excited for that because Chronic and LJ have got a lot of synergy from 2v2 tournaments in the past. I've seen them play really well together. And when you're teaming it up with Firstkiller, any team with Firstkiller in NA is going to be a contender. I think everybody kind of agreed that last season, outside of G2, LJ and Firstkiller were the next players in the top 5. In no particular order, you got all of G2, LJ, and Firstkiller as the top 5. Oh, what a save by Chronic there. Another very low-scoring game here, but it is a Firstkiller-esque game. He denies mid-boost as well, jumps over the demo. Just flawless gameplay here by Firstkiller. Chronic has got pressure on the ball, but Firstkiller is really not under pressure here at all. Firstkiller looking for the mind game. Had Chronic in sight as he came into the play. Now looking to take the ball back to his corner. There is no way through at the near post. Firstkiller just takes his time. No rush, he's just walking the ball around the pitch, continuing to pad his possession statistic, and eventually, when the open goal is there, he takes it. Easy 50 win for Firstkiller. He's just completely out of position. Chronic there, dribbling the ball back. Just baiting Chronic into the midfield and then muscling it past him. Excellent control by Chronic. It is going to be more Firstkiller offense. Speed by Chronic is sufficient, but he is in big trouble in this play as well. So little boost at his disposal. Oh, what a flick. Well, I'll tell you what, Chronic with 12 boosts might as well be 100 on the ground because he has done this a couple times now. Just a traditional flick, leaning forward and then diagonal flipping to launch it into the top corner. He's done it right off a kickoff. Now he's done it from midfield play as well. Now can he tie the game with the wall play? Reset secured. Chronic flicks high. Firstkiller somehow saves it, and look at the landing outside of the net after a save like that. An absolute heartbreaker for Chronic, who must have thought that he'd scored when he shot that ball. He must have thought that Firstkiller would be landing awkwardly. He's going to get a goal here though. Firstkiller out of position. Chronic ties the game. Finally a mistake by Firstkiller. Wall dashing into the corner, losing control, and Chronic saw it happening. Firstkiller again just keeping Chronic at bay, even though Chronic's got a boost advantage here. Firstkiller able to create some separation. That's good slow play by Chronic. Oh, what a shot as well. This seems like it might be the way back in for Chronic, is to not play at Firstkiller's pace. Such a successful mind game of the initial shot. And to just roll into a half volley from that position, incredibly hard to do. Now Firstkiller looking to bump Chronic away from the back corner. It's top corner and saved by Chronic. He's got to be careful here though. Nearly gets demoed. Well, I'll tell you what, he wasn't careful, but he got away with it. Air dribble is good. Chronic up by 2. We've been waiting to see if he would find an answer to Firstkiller's game 1 and 2, and there it is. Low boost flicks, slow plays on the ground, and a couple of aerial plays dotted in there as well. Chronic dribbles it back. That's so frustrating for Firstkiller to see. Both of these guys have been all about ball control in this matchup. Firstkiller doesn't rush the issue now. Off his own back wall. So close to the ceiling with the air dribble. Reset. Save by Chronic. What a save. That will no doubt win the game. Chronic 6-3. And Firstkiller calls next. So no sweep so far today. 4-1. Evoh over Diaz. And now 2-1 Firstkiller over Chronic. Very impressed that Chronic can come back after losing 2 games. Game 2 even more convincingly in favor of Firstkiller than game 1 was. Chronic not bothered, just keeps chugging along. And I think the control of the pace of the game is really what he needs to focus on. When Chronic slows the game down, I like the look of the matchup a lot more. When Chronic tries to just go at Firstkiller's pace, I don't think it's going to work. I don't like it at all. I think Firstkiller is just so comfortable playing at Supersonic. When somebody attacks him at Supersonic, Firstkiller is just thinking, great, that means I can go Supersonic as well. So Chronic, he should try and slow the game down more. I like the ground game. I like the flicks. I really like the fake shot into half volley. That was probably his best goal of the game. Better than even the aerial plays, which were spectacular. Bro, we don't get any cool names anymore like Firstkiller and BeastMode. Instead, we get Swift, Fast, Flow, and Juicy. I think Juicy's a great name. Swift's a great name as well. Fast is, I guess it can be a cool name if Fast makes a name for himself. I think people like it. Right now, he's on the come up, so he's not getting the cool name gang. Flow's a cool name as well. What do you mean? I remember when Firstkiller popped onto the scene, most people criticized his name. They were like, this guy's just stealing Scrubkilla's whole identity. Scribbles and Frosty. What I like, I think they've all got really good names. Two Piece is a high tier name. I agree. I think that there's a lot of good names right now in the Rocket League scene. There's not too many bad names. Like I look at some other games, and there'll just be some people with a bunch of random characters in their name, or completely unpronounceable words. Yeah, Rocket League for the most part is pretty cool. You think Daniel has the best name? Yeah, I do like that Daniel just named himself his full actual name. Like, you know, I've used my name in my name. Apparently Jack's used his name in his name. Then Daniel's name is just his full name. It's just like Daniel. Why not? Why add anything? Why subtract anything? Just Daniel. No nonsense. Yeah, it's interesting, like Firstkiller. Oh, nice double tap there by Chronic. Nearly scores it. He believed in the miss that is rare but did happen. Not a good spawn there by Chronic. He does get to the ball though. Jesse's a great name. It's even better when you find out that Jesse's real name isn't even Jesse. His real name's Connor. So I was really disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. There's nothing wrong with the name Connor, but when I found out that Jesse's name wasn't Jesse, I was really sad. That ruined my day. It was in 2017 probably. My day was so bad after that. Isn't it like Connor with a K, or is it Connor with a C? How does he spell it? Yeah, Gimmick's a great name. I mean, there's a lot of good names in Rocket League. Maybe we need to do a name tier list. That would be a fun piece of content. I'm sure nobody would get mad. Oh, lots of power missing on that wall shot by Chronic. That was essentially open. Firstkiller dominating. As we're discussing names. Oh, big blunder by Chronic. Firstkiller's going to try and fake him off it. Can't do so. But this has just gone all wrong for Chronic. Such composure by Firstkiller, stopping the ball on his own goal line. And he's just got the measure of Chronic so well on this attack. He's reading his every move. Had a perfect read on Chronic's boost amount. And then just dodges the demo nonchalantly as well. Oh, well played Chronic to grab that boost. Still a great touch by Firstkiller. It's such an awkward touch by FK. Chronic does get back to it and somehow gets an air dribble. But that was still really good. Awkward touch on the exit. Oh, Chronic with a dunk. Hello, slow play once again. I am noticing a pattern. Chronic, a lot of his success is coming when he slows the game down. He needs to keep doing this. Oh, Chronic messed up the kickoff. Just like Diaz earlier on today, he does adjust really well. You'll notice that when pros do mess up their kickoff, their mentality, their objective just becomes hit the ball. Just try and hit the middle of the ball with your dodge. If you accidentally single jump instead of flipping, it's all good. Just continue flying a little bit. Don't panic. Try and pre-flip into the middle of the ball. And RL, thanks for the brand new Prime. Drake, great, thanks for the 2-month Prime. And Tiswat, thanks for the Prime. Appreciate you guys. Firstkiller has been dominant today. This has really been a tough series from Chronic's POV. Firstkiller might be feeling generous on that play though as he passes it middle, and Chronic declines the present. That was Christmas come early. As Firstkiller just centered the ball to him. Chronic could not get it on target. And it looks like Chronic will continue to get the occasional goal with his flick game though. Great to see that just the simple flicks are still so effective in a world where it's all reverse 45-degree, fancy setups, elaborate air rolling. Nah, Chronic's just sticking to the good old-fashioned flicks, and they're still getting goals against one of the best defenders in the game. Flip reset Firstkiller as we approach the final minute. Huge mind game. Fakes the flick and wave dashes it underneath Chronic. And it's so hard to see that one coming. Firstkiller really made it look so convincing. It's just unreal. Must score territory for Chronic if he's going to come back in this game. He has really struggled to get goals in the matchup today with any kind of consistency. And he's not going to get one here, you feel, with Firstkiller in position, boost secured. Firstkiller is going to get another goal thanks to Chronic. Just stopping and saying next. He noticed the time and he saw where Firstkiller was and he knew, yeah, there's just not really much chance of me getting the control of the next play. Even if I do save this, Firstkiller is going to steal my boost away. Firstkiller is going to continue attacking. Let's just get into the next game. What do you mean Banana Head's a bad name? Banana Head's a great name. I think Banana Head is a really good name. I think what makes a good name, this is obviously just my opinion, but what makes a good name is, number one, does it sound good when somebody yells it? Like, if Firstkiller's name was Firstkiller237ZY, that wouldn't be very easy to say in a hurry. You want to, like, you know, hype that up. Yeah, you're not going to get it out. It's too long. So maybe, like, I'd say 2 to 3 syllables is the best kind of range. 1 syllable, too short. not long enough to generate hype when somebody yells your name when you score a cool goal. More than 3 syllables, too long. So people are just going to shorten your name anyway. So I'd say 2 to 3 syllables is probably the best range. And then apart from that, you want there to be, I guess, some kind of, maybe this is bias for me, but some kind of relevance to who you are. That's a great save by Firstkiller, dodging the bump. But I think the very best names are names that they make sense relative to the player's identity, name, nationality, something or other. That kind of attachment really does, I think, add to someone's name. So yeah, good length for hype. Makes sense for the person, and then lastly, I'd say it just has to be fun to say. It can't just be 2 words that really are difficult to say one after another, meshed together. That's it. That's my 3 things I would say must be in place for a name to be S tier. Well, Firstkiller's got a tight angle shot here. He is going to go for it. Misses. Still gets the boost off the back end. Chronic had to respect even the tightest angle rebound. And there is another one. Firstkiller automatic from this kind of position. And once again, Chronic knew it was coming. He had to respect it, but couldn't get the read on where that was going. I guess, yeah, you should have thrown in uniqueness. Uniqueness is definitely important for names as well. I will say that. Esports names. Sound cool to yell. Easy to say. Just not an annoying word to say. Oh, Firstkiller, perfect control, 2-1. Started off on Chronic's back wall for this one. Still automatic with a double tap. I guess final thought on the name thing is it doesn't matter how cool your name is. If you're not like successful or funny or just in some way doing a good job, nobody's gonna care. Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, whatever. Somebody can have the worst name ever, and if they're just like a 4-time, 5-time world champion, their name just becomes goated because of their achievements. That being said, the only 4-time world champion we've got, Turbo Pulset, is a great name. A pulset is like a type of sausage in Sweden. So yeah, Turbo Sausage, great name. S tier for me. Another one of those games where we've got a pretty low scoring start, pretty even mid-game. But this is Firstkiller favored. This is what he wants. He wants a controlled game. He wants his opponents to just give him space. He'll give his opponent space in return. Kind of like a handshake just here between Firstkiller and Chronic, saying it's all good. You're going to get your turn on the ball after I've had about 5 goes of scoring on you. And there's not really much Chronic can do. He's trying to dispossess Firstkiller and it's just impossible. Firstkiller eventually scores. Chronic got sick of defending, ran to the mid boost, and he did not have time to get back. Yeah, he probably would have been back in time if he just turned immediately, but he didn't want to defend in low boost anymore. The Firstkiller might be about to cross the finish line. He's just a different level when he gets to main events for Salt Mine. Chronic qualified before him. Chronic beat him in a best of 5 just the other day. Now best of 7 when it's all on the line. Firstkiller is looking too much. Huge ceiling challenge by Firstkiller. Ramping up so quickly. And once again, Firstkiller breaks free of the midfield. Chronic is motionless. It's 4-1. I think one more and Chronic is going to be done with this matchup. He's going to be in the lower bracket with a forfeit. That's my guess, at least. Will he stick in until the bitter end now that he's on his last life? I'm not sure he will. He's had 2 shots so far this game. Firstkiller has had 11. It's full Firstkiller control. Chronic has not been able to get the ball off him. And this is the Chronic who beat BeastMode yesterday. Firstkiller has just been a level above. And he calls GG's. The timing of that is just so funny to me. He's like, all right, he got the back corner boost. I'm out of here. I've had enough. He stole my boost again. I don't want to play anymore. He took one too many boosts and I'm just out. That is so funny. The straw that broke the camel's back, 1 boost steal. Like, he's like, nah, GG's, I've had enough. I don't know why the timing of that is just so funny to me, but it's just, usually you'll see a forfeit off a goal. And I mean, he probably knew a goal was coming. But yeah, Firstkiller just still so much boost. That's ridiculous. That might be the biggest boost deficit we've seen, 2400s at 1800. Definitely one of the bigger ones. Huge, huge controlling stats in favor of Firstkiller as he sends Chronic to the lower bracket. In a very Firstkiller fashion, it was a very, very Firstkiller-esque performance. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much if Firstkiller takes your boost away, you're just going to be stuck in defense. It's not going to be fun for the next while at least. But yeah, we'll take a look at the bracket in a moment. We've got a while before the next match starts. That was a quicker upper round 2 this time around. So if you guys have got any questions about Salt Mine or, well, anything else that's been happening in a Rocket League recently, now's the time to ask. While you guys think of that, we can take a look at the post-series stats. Yeah, dominant, just Firstkiller. In control of the field, in control of possession. Chronic actually did keep a hold of his boost for the most part. But this was a very one-sided series overall. 5-1, 7-2, 5-1. Some extremely dominant wins by Firstkiller in this one.